So if you've been paying attention to the auto market lately, you know something's up, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that today. So really the start of what's going on in the auto market today can be linked back to 2020. We all know what happened in 2020. And because of all the shutdowns that happened because of COVID, it really started to affect the supply chain later in 2020 and in 2021, when people really started to kind of have some money that was freed up, a lot of the government money that came in, the government checks. And people were looking to buy cars, and unfortunately those cars weren't there. So then really what happened was, because there was not a big supply of cars, and there was a lot of people with money who were looking to buy cars, then the value of these vehicles just shot to the moon. In particular, a lot of used cars, but also new cars. I mean, hell, honestly, even the cheap cars, you used to be able to get just beaters for $1,000 or $1,500, and anyone that's in that market knows that since 2020, even buying a cheap beater with a heater is a $2,500 or $3,000 proposition. So even the cheap cars have doubled in price since 2020. Now that's just the first part of what really happened, just the cars going up due to demand. Now we have to talk about the second part, which is inflation. Essentially what happened was, due to the federal government printing so much money, inflation happened. And I'm not an economist. You can certainly go to any of their channels. They'll tell you all about it. So really the second thing that happened was inflation, which further rose the cost of these vehicles. And really, inflation is just kind of a quick breakdown of the federal government printing money and the cost of goods raising. So essentially, it's just kind of like a bunch of stuff all really together, which causes inflation. And that's what happened over the last couple of years. And now the third thing is that they also raised interest rates to be able to borrow any money. So not only did the cars get more expensive, but the interest rates, and so the physical money that it costs to borrow against the vehicles that were accelerating in value also went up. So now you were kind of like really triply screwed, that the vehicles were going up due to demand. Inflation was really doing its number against those values as well. And it cost more money to borrow the money on the more expensive cars. And really, that's what's happened since the last half of 2020, really up until about the winter of 2023, kind of really creeping over into this year. But if you've been paying attention, you notice that there's something changing. And really, if you don't know, you're wondering, well, what the hell's going on? So that's what I'm actually here to talk about a little bit. So with everything getting so expensive, what happened is people just started to run out of money. And so with people who had less disposable cash due to jobs or just everything costing more due to inflation, people really started to take a look at the auto market and started holding on to cars longer, or just saying, hey, that car that's $40,000 brand new is now being marked up to $55,000, and it's 9% interest to borrow on that car that's $15,000 over MSRP. So people just physically can't afford to do it. And on top of that, banks now are being really tight with their lending. Just all across the board. It's not even just in the automotive market, but it's in the housing market or credit cards, pretty much anywhere that consumers are going to borrow money. And I know it's kind of confusing when you look and it's like, okay, dude, you have a car channel, so why are you talking about finance and economic things? And really what it boils down to is there is a car crash coming to the automotive industry. If you've looked at any new car dealer or like a newer used car dealer, you're just seeing the lots just absolutely full. More full than you've ever seen them. If you went to any new car dealer since COVID, pretty much they were pretty barren. And now if you look, they just don't even have a spot to park cars. And what a lot of people don't know is that most car lots actually don't own those cars, that they're financing those cars from the automotive manufacturer. So just because they're a Toyota dealer, that doesn't mean that Toyota gives them the car to sell. They actually have to purchase those cars from Toyota, and essentially they act as a middleman because Toyota's not selling you those cars directly. So they, as the middleman, are purchasing those cars for a set price from Toyota, and then they're trying to sell them to you. So the cars that are sitting on their lot, the lots that are now full, are financed. And typically when rates were at 2 or 3%, they could sit on these cars. But now that even the dealers are paying 9, 10, 11% interest on these loans that they have to take out on these cars, it is really hurting them too, because they're losing money by having these cars just sit on their lot and get lot rot. They just can't afford to do that right now. So really what I'm trying to say is it's kind of like a perfect storm going on, that just the financial institutions are not lending money. People don't have money. The car lots have to start selling their stock that they've been just holding on to and unwilling to move on their price. So what does that mean for you? What that means is, if I were you, you were in the market for a car, new or used, but used probably above 20,000. Cars that are under that, especially the 10,000 and under, really kind of aren't affected by this. And in fact, like, as I'm filming this is tax return time, so any of those vehicles that are 10,000 and under really are kind of just getting bought up like crazy, and those prices are shooting up currently just because people are getting their tax money back, and those kind of people are searching for those cars. So that stock's really drying up, and those cars are going to just be really expensive for the next couple of months. So what I'm talking about are cars that are $20,000 and up, and brand new cars. So if that describes you and you're going to be in the market for a car that is $20,000 and up, wait. That is what you have to do. You just have to wait. Because as these dealerships hold on to these cars, and they're just going to get more and more and more desperate, because they're losing money every day that these cars are just sitting on their lot. So they have to sell them. They're going to have to sell them at a loss, or the longer that they hold on to them and they're just servicing this debt, they're just losing more and more and more. So you're going to start seeing car prices come down a lot more than they have. And really, over the last couple of months, you've seen that the prices have come down 5% and more. I mean, really, I'm currently going to be in the market for a BMW. If you've watched my channel, or specifically my last video, you've seen me talk about that. So I've noticed a huge difference in the price of these cars, where I was looking at F80s, G20s, all that. And so those cars were all in the high 40s, low 50s. And you're now seeing these cars in the low to mid 40s. And that's really only over the last 4 months or so. Now, the luxury brands such as BMW aren't going to be as affected as maybe your GM or your domestic brands, just simply because people who are buying luxury brands, a lot of people are paying cash, or they have that money, so they're really not financing it. So they're not hit as hard, but they are still going to see their numbers going down on what those cars are selling for. And now, I'm no expert. I've just been doing a ton of research, and I've been writing down essentially what I've seen the market doing over the last 6 months. And so I can't sit here and tell you that, like, oh yeah, the best time to buy a car is going to be in spring of 2025. I don't have a crystal ball, and I'm not a financial guy, so I can't tell you that. But what I can tell you is, wait a little bit longer if you're in the market. And really, summer is going to be a good time, I think, to start looking at those cars and start really running into some fantastic deals. I at least know for myself, that's what my plan is. I'm going to wait until midsummer to really buckle down and start looking for a car. And I know there's going to be dealers that are absolutely desperate to start moving on from this just massive stock that they have, and that they just can't even afford to service all of that debt anymore. What I do know, it's going to be a super interesting time as we move into the later parts of this year and early parts of next year, just not even just for the automotive market, but really to see what's going to happen with the economy, and if we can hit the soft landing that they keep talking about. And like I said, I'm not a financial guy, but to me, just your everyday American, I don't think it's coming. I don't think there's a soft landing coming. It's looking like things are going to get pretty scary for a little bit here. So that's it. That's what I got for you today. We're kind of still in the middle of the throes of winter here, though it's been pretty nice. Thank you, El Nino. So I just figured I'd update you with what's going on in the auto market, and just kind of see what's going to be happening. Definitely look forward to what's coming for me in this channel in 2024, because you watch, you know that there are big things coming. So as always, thank you for watching my videos. And if you like what you saw, make sure to like and subscribe. That would do me a huge